Boston Common is a haven in the city, a space where life unfolds in vibrant layers. On any given day, you might find live music, Tai Chi classes, or the chatter of picnicking friends, all under the watchful gaze of the trees. And my personal favorite, the gray squirrel. 3 years ago, I was one of those picnickers on my first date with my partner. I didn't know then, but I was just steps away from the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. On the way to our spot from the T station, we had passed 3 memorials without stopping. In my mind, they were fixtures, part of the scenery. I knew they had meaning, but I didn't really care to explore it. And memorials to me were objects that simply took up space. Taking this class about memorials changed everything. Suddenly, these statues and structures were no longer invisible. It made me stop and wonder and ask why they occupy the spaces that they do. That same Soldiers and Sailors monument I'd ignored countless and countless of times became a revelation for me. For years, it had been a distant white column with an angel on top, but one day, I got to climb the hill and get a little closer. From afar, the monument seems simple, but as I approached its details, many, many details came into focus. The column, crowned with a personification of America, rises from a base adorned with intricate bronze panels. These panels are windows into different stories, depicting soldiers and sailors, nurses and politicians of the Civil War in vivid realism. From a distance, it's a symbol. Up close, it's a story. A reminder of sacrifice, struggle, and what it means to be American, or whatever that means. At its base, nearly hidden, is an inscription about America, waiting for those curious enough to find it. The memorial had always been there, but this was the first time that I had allowed myself to take space with it. By doing that, I gained a deeper understanding of why it took space in the first place. In an article by Brett Dawson, he interviewed Paul George, and he said when he saw the OKC memorial, it was like the first step. It was like opening the front door and them telling him, drop your bags, make yourself at home. As someone who did not grow up in Massachusetts, memorials like these really do make you feel at home and make you feel invited to learn about your city's history. Not all memorials are instantly recognized as powerful, however. When the embrace was unveiled, it was met with widespread criticism online. Many dismissed its abstract form, fixating on awkward angles and unfavorable comparisons. So curious, my friends and I went to see it for ourselves. At first, I shared their skepticism. The interlocked arms seemed strange, disjointed, but a second visit shaped my perspective now. I circled the monument, taking in the details. From one view, it's MLK's strength, from another, it's Coretta's, and from afar, the arms form a heart, a symbol of their partnership. The piece demands movement, asking you, begging you to walk around it, to see the story unfold through shifting perspectives. What once seemed abstract becomes deeply human. According to Carl Ann Marling and John Weddinghall, visual media not only documents history, but also creates it, influencing how we remember and commemorate events. This further underscores the importance of taking up space and to form your own experiences with these memorials instead of being clouded by mass judgment. Maya Lin beautifully stated that the design process taught her that simplicity can convey complexity and that a memorial should be a living, evolving space in the hearts of those who visit it. Bunker Hill did just that. Even close to closing time, a line of people still waited for their turn to climb the monument. My main goal for this visit was to observe the people around me. I had already had this individual awakening, but I wanted to see what it was like as part of a group, drawn together by curiosity and the willingness to tackle 294 steps to experience this memorial. In that moment, we weren't just visitors. We had formed a temporary community, connected by the effort and the experience of being there together. Memorials are much more intentional than I had expected. In fact, there is nothing accidental about memorials. They do not exist just to take up space. They only thrive if there is the curiosity to understand why they take up the space that they do. Whether or not it is successful in its intended purpose is up to the individual, but it is growth in itself to have sat with the memorial enough to have comprehensive feelings of disappointment or inspiration. We all take up space, and that is purposeful. Much like the trees and the squirrels and the buildings around, monuments are no exception to the intent of taking up space.